This is Twit.
Satya Nadella is Microsoft's new CEO. Nadella has been with the company for 22 years. Founder and former CEO Bill Gates will step down as chairman and take an advisory role to Nadella. Board member John Thompson, the lead independent director, will become chairman. Current CEO Steve Ballmer, who may soon be the company's largest shareholder, will remain on the board. Nadella starts work as CEO today.
Satya, let me start by asking you, who is Satya Nadella? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 46 years old. I've been at Microsoft for 22 of those 46 years. I've been married for 22 years to a wife I've known ever since high school. We have 3 kids. Like anyone else, my experience and how I think is all been shaped, I guess, by my life's experience. And the one thing that I would say that defines me is I love to learn. I get excited about new things. I buy more books than I read or finish. I sign up for more online courses than I can actually finish. But the thing about being able to watch people do great things.
I think he's going to be learning a lot in the next years ahead as CEO of Microsoft. Well, with us to talk about the new CEO is Elise Hu. She's a reporter who covers technology for NPR's radio and online news outlets. Thanks for being here, Elise.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Elise, you wrote a piece this morning called 8 Things Worth Knowing About Microsoft's New CEO, Satya Nadella. Can you tell us a few interesting things about this guy?
Yeah, what I was trying to do was find some quirkier things or some details about his personal life that might shed some light on Mr. Nadella. One thing that we found is, he talks about being a father of 3, and in past interviews, 2 of his children, he has said, are special needs kids. So he has spoken in the past just about his family responsibilities and thinking long term, and that family actually helps encourage him to think longer term, because in business, they're kind of looking at quarter after quarter. And so I thought that was really interesting. Also, he is from Andhra Pradesh, a large southern state in India, and specifically its capital, Hyderabad, where Microsoft also has a big presence. And so his Indian roots, we also looked a little bit into. I'm sure the folks of Andhra Pradesh are quite proud that there's another big name Indian-American CEO.
The inevitable comparisons to Steve Ballmer have Nadella, at least at this point, seeming like the exact opposite. Is that a good thing for Microsoft and the culture moving forward?
I think analysts are still not sure. I mean, there's been some reaction that whether, or I guess questions about whether somebody who has been a veteran of Microsoft for the last 22 years can really champion the innovation and the ruthless change and new ideas that the company so much needs. And so I think analysts are taking a wait and see approach as of now, but obviously a very different style than Ballmer, just watching that interview that they put out. So the personal style will be something that we'll be watching over the next few months and years.
Well, Nadella has a lot of education and experience. He has multiple degrees in both engineering and in business. He has a lot of experience at Microsoft in particular, but he's never run a company before. Do you think this is going to be a problem for him? He's essentially being a CEO or an executive role for the first time in his life, and taking on Microsoft is quite a big job. Do you think he'll succeed in that role?
I think that that's probably a question that he got from the board a lot, but you really can't say that you've run a company unless you've run one, right? And so I think this is something that he is he'll be tested here, but from all accounts and from all our sources, they say that he's very well liked within Microsoft and by the engineers, because he is said to have deep technical knowledge, which the engineers of Microsoft are going to respect. So I think that's going to be something that we'll watch, as well as his relationship with Bill Gates. I mean, Bill Gates' role is obviously also changing, as y'all mentioned, to become a technical or technological advisor to Nadella. So how Nadella and Gates will work together is another pivot point that is worth watching.
You talked about his compassion and what kind of person he is, but and his relationship with Bill Gates, very important. But is he going to be able to stand up to his old boss? He's going to be, he used to report to Ballmer. Now Ballmer is going to be basically on the board.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the key test. We don't know a whole lot about his temperament. I think that is the reporting that needs to happen over the next couple of days and weeks as this comes out. But he has been very laudatory of Ballmer in past interviews. He seems to really deeply respect Ballmer and be a real company man. I looked at his Twitter account that he hasn't updated since 2010, but almost every message was about, something new that Microsoft was rolling out. So an insider's insider are very loyal to the company. And so how this role change is going to happen is one of the real interesting sort of political things to watch. I was previously a political reporter, and I feel like these personality dynamics are some of the things that our future reporting can really get into.
Now, there were reports earlier last week that Nadella, as part of his contract negotiations, was insisting that Gates take an advisory role to him. That struck me as kind of a publicity stunt, a face-saving move for Gates, as a way to kind of remove Gates as the chairman without making it seem like he was somehow demoted. Do you think there was anything legitimate to that request, that he actually wanted Gates to advise him on a technology basis?
Yeah, there's two schools of thought on that. One is yours, which you just presented, this idea that this is a face-saving move. The other, the more sort of optimistic take on this, is that Nadella actually really respects Gates as a product guy in developing tech products, and that in his role as chairman, he wasn't able to do that. And so Nadella actually did want him to sort of step down from the chairman role in order to have more flexibility in thinking about the future and this quote-unquote ruthless innovation that Nadella is speaking of in his first interview as CEO, the one that he did with Microsoft.
Well, thank you for introducing us to Satya Nadella, the new CEO of Microsoft. Elise, again, I appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me.
You can find Elise on Twitter at EliseWho, who on her Twitter account is spelled W-H-O.